Welcome into the Graham and Mac Lane podcast presented by Ingles, the official supermarket of Graham and Mac Lane. Our full week of previews continues on. There are so many teams to discuss. Football season's almost here. I can almost taste it, Eric Mac Lane. I'm so excited. Can't wait. Let's talk Pittsburgh. And we're excited to be joined by Pat Narduzzi later in this episode, the head man. Always so good to us. Second straight year, I believe, we've interviewed him from the beach.
Crazy.
Crazy. Why is Pat taking time to talk to us when he's at the beach? Why, Mac?
Because he's a good man.
That's true.
He's a Pitt man. He does that for us. But yeah, you're right. Whenever he pops on and he's on a balcony, I'm like,
Coach, no, you should have a drink in your hand.
Just tell us later. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
But it is
Seriously.
very kind of him. I will say that. It is extremely kind of him. And all these coaches, you'll see Rhett Lashley's exploring somewhere at the Great
He was in Wyoming.
He was in Wyoming when he was talking. These guys are nuts. Just tell us no. Tell us another time. We're fine to accommodate, but it's very kind of them. Very kind of Coach Narduzzi there. And it's always great to see him. It's funny in Charlotte, he's walking in this like badass pinstripe suit. And I'm just like, this dude is a mob leader. Like that's just what
we love the Narduzzi.
The defensive mob that's at Pittsburgh. He's leading the way there for the Pitt Panthers. And he's a great dude. And I'm excited for Pitt. It's funny, KG, like after media day, just because you get to talk to people, you get to see some people, and you hear their excitement. And there's some coaches that, they'll BS you a little bit. But there's some coaches, when they speak confidently about their team, you're like, usually they're trying to backtrack some stuff here. And if he's feeling good, I'm feeling good, right? And so,
right.
It's one of those things. After media day, I felt even better about Pittsburgh. And I just think they've got some great bones. They've got a lot of people back, especially on the defensive side of the ball, but also offensively. You have your quarterback, Eli Holstein, who was electric when he was healthy last year. The things that we saw from Desmond Reid were sick. Like that dude was freaky. All-American, is a preseason All-American this year. A guy you just have to get the football in his hands. And then, a guy like Kyle Lewis on the defensive side that created, the Pittsburgh Sharks there. He's a monster. And talking to him in person, KG, was just like, whoa, like I get it. This dude's intense. He gets after it. He's a heck of a ball player. Another preseason All-American. Could those guys end up being really high draft picks? Absolutely. Could Kyle end up being a first-round draft pick? Absolutely. There's a lot to be excited about with this Pittsburgh team.
You've got true superstars on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say with Desmond Reid and Kyle Lewis. I mean, that's exciting. And, Mac, it is rare. Like, Pitt returns a lot. You look at these projected depth charts, they did not lose a lot of guys to the portal or graduation, whatever. That's a great sign. I think Coach Narduzzi, we know he's built a great culture there at Pittsburgh. And I did get, from last year to this year, I kind of think he was at the same beach house. It felt like he was a lot more confident this year than last year. Last year, he had just brought in Cade Bell. They were trying to figure out the offense. No one had ever heard of Desmond Reid, this little kid from Western, wherever they were at. And now everyone knows about him. So that's exciting. And then obviously, Eli Holstein's their guy.
Right.
Coach is excited about him. You can hear that in the interview. He's put on some weight. He's taking that leadership role. And that's going to be really exciting for Pitt. I asked him about this too. They had such a weird year last year, right? You start 7-0.
Yeah.
And then you lose 6 straight. Starting 7-0 was so exciting. We had them, they were ranked, the Syracuse game, and then fall off after that. So you at least had that taste of, okay, this is what we need to do to win.
Right.
And then hopefully you learn from that final stretch and from those 6 losses. But to your point, Matt, can this defense, I think, continue to improve? Pass defense wasn't great last year. That's probably something they're trying to improve upon.
Right.
But can Eli Holstein stay healthy? That's the other big thing, because we know the injuries were a big deal.
Yeah, no question. And, it's interesting you talk about how Coach felt this time last year compared to this year. He didn't know who his starting quarterback was going to be, right? He thought it was going to be Nate Yarnell. And then out of nowhere, Eli kind of takes over. And what's interesting, I was just with Roddy the other day, and he was kind of refreshing. We were talking about Pitt, and he kind of was saying that when they were there on site, that was the first time ever that Eli had gotten number 1 reps, and he marches down the field. He operates really high at a high level, and he and EJ are just looking at each other like, this is the starter. Like, this is the guy. And it was. And that day forward, Eli never looked back. And so there's some comfort there. There's some comfort in knowing that you have a ton of playmakers coming back. And you're absolutely right. It's building upon it. And, it's staying healthy. And how did we get better as a team? Because you're right. It was a horrible finish. It was a historically bad finish when you win all those games and then lose all those games. But those guys have that to lean on too, right? They saw that they can get to the mountaintop. They can be ranked. They can do anything you want. You can accomplish your goals at Pittsburgh. But you got to finish, and you have to take that level of accountability and standard to a different place. And it's good that the core nucleus of this team went through that together.
Agreed. And you're probably feeling different, too, if you're Pitt, if you win that bowl game, right?
Oh, sure.
The 6 overtime loss to Toledo, then you're 8. Wait, let me do the math. 8-5, is that right? Yeah, 7-5, 8-5. Yeah. That feels a lot different than 7-6. So you also have that, too. The defense just has to be better. I think we all agree on that. I think Coach Narduzzi, who's a defensive guy, would understand. When you look at post-Halloween last year, they gave up 48, 37, 34, 48 points in 4 of their final 6 games. Yeah. That's got to be better. And that will be. Like, there's no way that the Narduz and Kyle Lewis specifically lets that happen. So I do think the defense will improve.
It was literally like all the magic in the Pittsburgh football god realm was put into that Syracuse game.
Absolutely. I knew you were going to say that.
They used it all. They used it all in one game. And then it was just like a basketball rolled in there and the Monstars took all the powers away. It was so bizarre how different they were after that. And now, listen, SMU was what it was. Clemson was a dogfight, and they should have beat them.
They should have won.
Kate Klubnik had a walk-off 50-yard touchdown run, himself. But it's crazy to look at how different things happen, and they ended up where they did. But again, I love this team. I think Kenny Johnson's going to take another step forward at the wide receiver position. I think, finding out your tight end situation is going to be important, taking those next steps there. But like what they brought in from the offensive line and then going to that defense, they're pretty much all back. And is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I think it's a great thing, because they went through that together. They understand the standard, and a guy like Kyle Lewis leading the way there. But also all those guys like Rasheem Biles, Lovelace, like they've got some dogs on that defense, and stay healthy and get ready to hunt, and let's go after it. So I'm excited for this Pittsburgh team, excited for this Pittsburgh defense.
I want to hit schedule as we get to the win total of 6.5, which I think is a very interesting win total.
Feel good about that.
I like, for a team like Pitt, who returns a lot of guys, you're trying to keep that quarterback healthy, trying to get some confidence early on. I like opening Duquesne, Central Michigan, then at West Virginia. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Got to win that game. Think we'll find out a lot at West Virginia on September 13th.
West Virginia has 70 new players, by the way.
I know.
Our guy, Zach Alley, defensive coordinator.
He is.
At West Virginia.
And I didn't mean you'll find out a lot, because I don't think West Virginia is going to be great.
No, but you will.
Going on the road in the backyard brawl, can you handle it, right? And
Coach is doing great things there. Yeah, it's
convincing. We'll see.
No question.
The finish stands out to me. They're November. At Stanford. I know Stanford's not going to be great, but you got to go all the way out there. Notre Dame. You get a bye week after Stanford. Notre Dame. At Georgia Tech. Miami. That's where Pitt's going to make their money. That's where we'll see if they can get over the 6.5 Eric McLean. Because I think, you went 7-5 last year, and I think you're going to be better. So I tend to lean over with Pittsburgh on that number. But that final stretch is going to tell us a lot.
No, it absolutely will. And you're right. It's a brutal finish there with a Notre Dame team that was just in the national championship, a Miami team that was the first team out of the college football playoff, and a Georgia Tech team that everybody thinks is a dark horse this year to make some crazy noise. So you got to put on your big boy shoes, and you got to go to work, and you have to be healthy by the time you play there.
Which was a big issue last year,
6.5, I'm going to go over. I like Pittsburgh. I really do. I think that they bounce back. You have your quarterback. You have playmakers. You have defensive pieces that you think are very good. So I think they figure it out. And I think we see a jump from Cade Bell as well. As good as that offense was for 7 games, I think we see that for a full season. I think we see that comfort level really increase for both of them. And, they figure this thing out. So give me the over on the Panthers. And I'm feeling pretty confident about that.
Come on, let's go. The things you have to avoid if you're Pitt, you look back at last year, the loss to Virginia.
Yeah, bad.
The loss to BC. I know that was on the road. Obviously, the bowl loss. You can't, if you're Pitt, you cannot drop an early game to BC.
Yeah.
I think you got to beat like NC State at home, right? You got to get those right. Stanford.
Florida State,
you got to get
at
those
Florida
types of
State.
wins.
Yeah, something. You've got to, at Syracuse, you've got to win, half of those, that are kind of tweener games that you think maybe can go either way. A guy that thinks they should win all of them is their head coach, Coach Narduzzi, and he's here with us today. This is really fun. As we mentioned, he's on vacation, which is crazy he did this, but we're glad he did. It's always great to talk to him. We're going to get a message from our friends over at Ingles, but without further ado, the Narduz. Let's go.
Did you know that Ingles sells more organics than any other store? Or that they run their own dairy? Or that they only serve USDA choice and prime meat? Did you know that they have more local craft beer than any place else? Or that they have Energy Smart stores? Or that they professionally slice and package imported cheese from Europe? Did you know about their giant international aisle, local farm partnerships, curbside pickup, wine department? Or that they donate 3,956 meals a day to local food banks? Well, now you do. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Coach Narduzzi, great to see you once again out in the wild on vacation, making time for us. We don't deserve you. You are too kind. Great to see you, brother. How's summer?
Summer's going great, and you do deserve Pitt and Pat Narduzzi, I can tell you that. The way you guys have always treated us, couldn't be happier with you guys. And then you put that shirt on today. Show everybody that shirt today. Look at that.
Exclusive, baby. That's big time. That's big time.
Big time. I don't know where only special guys get that. So
that's what we've heard, Coach. Well, we appreciate you. You've always made time for us. And I want to start here because I saw something on social media. Seems like you've had a good summer. You were playing golf and you were in the same group with John Daly. Can you tell me more about this?
Well, it was for United Way.
Okay.
And I wasn't in the same group as him, but he hung around us a lot. I think it's just because he liked to hang out with the coach. So, and he had a few extra balls for us. It was a fortune, but it was a fundraiser with John Daly. I mean, you should see this guy hit the ball. It's amazing. It's 2 years in a row that I've played with him, and he's a treat now. He's a treat.
I can't imagine the storytelling, the fun times I'm sure were had there. And I'll tell you, more fun times is Pitt defense and the way you guys play there. And listen, I pay you the ultimate respect. We do not start defense with anybody but you. And that's the way we're going to start this thing. And I think who else could you start with but Kyle Lewis? And the year that he had, 100-plus tackles, 15 and a half tackles for loss, 7 sacks, picks, touchdowns. I mean, this guy is Weapon X. He's an absolute freak. What does he mean to the Pitt program, to this Pitt defense?
Oh, man, he's everything. First of all, he's become a leader in the offseason. We saw him make all those plays. And I always say this, I don't care what you did in 24. What do you got for me in 25? Because that's really what's going to matter. He needs to improve his draft stock and all that stuff. And I'd love to see him be a first rounder. He's got that potential. He's a great kid. But he's a playmaker. I mean, he's just a football player. And, he does it in practice, what you see in the games. So I think, you play the way you practice, and Kyle does that. And a lot of our guys can learn from, just kind of the attitude he takes in practice every day.
Yeah, and we know you guys have built that reputation of sending guys to the NFL, first rounders, especially on the defensive side of the ball. We know, at times last year, maybe the defense wasn't what it had been, the Pitt standard, if you look at kind of the last 5 games or so. What do you want to see? What are some of the boxes that you want to see this defense check this year?
It's a consistency. I think it's consistency. I think we got good players on defense. I think our defensive line will be much improved. And with that linebacker core with Rasheem Biles and Lovelace behind him with Kyle Lewis, those are 3 really good linebackers. I feel pretty good up front for with what we're going to see this year. I think we got heck of schedules as well in the ACC and non-conference with Notre Dame and West Virginia as well. So, I want to see the consistency, Kelly. I mean, you go back to, that Clemson game. I mean, we didn't finish the way we wanted to, offensively or defensively. We can point the fingers either way, and I'm good at pointing it, in every direction. But that quarterback draw at the end when they have no timeouts, they run the ball. We've got one guy out of place. Everybody wants to blame someone else, but really there's one guy, and that really should have made that tackle at the line of scrimmage. And then everybody's going, "What a terrible call that was! Why'd they run the ball? They had no timeouts." But we made them look really. So I mean, there's just those consistency things of doing it all the time. I think we can be an elite defense again this year. I think we were elite last year pretty much. I mean, as far as just tackles for losses and sacks and causing havoc in the backfield. And that's what we got to continue to do, and then eliminate those errors that cost you football games.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. When you think of Pitt football, you think of Pitt defense. It's getting in the backfield and causing chaos for the opposing team there. And, you bring up, a bad game. I'm going to bring up a great game just because you mentioned those linebackers and all the unbelievable things that they can do for you. I'm thinking of that Syracuse game, and it was the most unbelievable thing I've ever witnessed in my life. What was that like for you on the sideline, just play after play after play? That had to be unbelievable.
We did not need an offense that day. That was the most important thing. Our defense was our offense. That was one heck of a game. It was great game plan by the defensive staff as well, and our players just made plays. And that's what they got to do all the time, Kelly. I don't want to see it one game and then all of a sudden, you don't do anything else after that. I mean, that was kind of the high mark, and then we didn't hit that high mark. It's almost like we hit a high and we never got back to it. And we got to have consistency there. We can't, maybe we made too many damn plays in one game. We got to spread it out a little bit, I guess. I don't know.
That's right. That's good. That's good.
Mac, I think we did an emergency pod after that game because it was just so...
It was so unbelievable. It was so
We were like, what is happening? And, of course, you're doing it against Kyle McCord, who's ended up going to have a long career in the NFL, we think. Coach, let's look offensively. There are very few programs in this crazy world we're in that can say you return your starting quarterback and Eli Holstein and you return a guy like Desmond Reid, who did so much for you last year. What you say, I don't care about 24, on to 25. What is the encore? Like, what can Desmond Reid do this year?
Well, we want to keep them healthy, both those players. If we keep both of them healthy, we can talk about the offense, defense. Let's just stay healthy. If we keep those two healthy for their entire year, look out, because I think it could be dangerous. But we just want Des Reid to go out and do what he did a year ago. I mean, if he goes out and does what he did a year ago, and then Eli Holstein is just going to keep getting better. I mean, I think we just saw the touch of the surface of what he can be in this conference and in college football overall. So, I mean, I hope they're talking, big talk, about some big awards at the end of the year with Eli. The rookie of the week, those are great. I'd like some, player of the week and conference players of the year kind of deal. So that's what you kind of want right there for Eli.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt there, Coach. And just to kind of double down on Desmond Reid before I jump more into Eli, I think he's one of the most dynamic players in the whole country. I mean, he is such a weapon, and you guys used him as such last year, and he really thrived in a lot of different ways. Just from a strategy and coaching position for you and some things you guys are going to have to deal with, everybody knows him now, right? And everybody expects it, and they're going to load up the box or, try to have a more dynamic defender on him. How does that present a challenge for you and Coach Bell, which we'll dive into more, to make sure he can still get his touches in a good spot, good opportunity-wise?
Yeah. Well, I think that's where the coaches come apart. Like, Cade Bell gets paid to do, that on offense. I mean, if we have the weapons, and it's his job to get those guys open. So I think, that's Cade's Bell job. If they want to double him, if they want to put a bigger, better skill guy instead of getting a matchup on a linebacker, well, then we should be able to run the ball. We should be able to get some people up and knock an athletic DB in the mouth as opposed to having a linebacker. A linebacker's going to stop the run, but can he cover Dez? So all those matchups, we'll have to do a great job of knowing what we're getting, how they're playing us, and again, that goes down to coaching, and we got to do a great job there.
Yeah, and so we mentioned Eli, and you say, staying healthy, keeping those guys healthy. We obviously know that's a huge piece. When he was healthy, he was super special last year, and there was a run that he went on that was, exciting to watch. How's he doing? How has his offseason been? And, really just what's the expectation for him growth-wise going into this second year?
Yeah, we expect a lot more out of him, that's for sure. And we got a lot out of him a year ago. Again, first expectation is 12 games. So that's number one. And number two, we just want to, take care of the ball. I mean, if he takes care of the ball and he gets out of trouble and gets rid of the ball and doesn't take unnecessary hits, don't try to take a hit coming out of bounds and duck your shoulder and try to take one there. He's a tough kid. He wants to play tough, but he's got to play smart. But I think he's a tremendous football player. I can't wait to watch him. You put on that Louisville game, which is the last game he played. The first two drives of the game, he goes down the field. Then he gets hurt, and then he's out for the rest of the year. And that was kind of, but when he's out there, we're moving the ball, and when he's not out there, we didn't do the same type of job that we'd like to.
And you talk about getting those weapons open and in Cade Bell's job there. Kenny Johnson, Poppy Williams, we know these guys are back. Can you give us maybe a few more names to look for in that receiving core as Eli Holstein is getting ready for another big year?
Yeah, we got a transfer from Louisville, Katarius, Blue Hicks, that had an incredible spring. I'm really, really excited about him. he can be a special guy. We have a true freshman, TJ Kinsler, that I think can be special. Again, just came in spring ball. We're going to find out. And then Deuce Spann, a big 6'5" guy that came from Florida State. You guys probably remember Florida State. Yeah. He came to Pitt as well, and he's had a great offseason. So I'm forgetting some guys, but those are the ones that stand out to me right now as we talk. And we're excited about that whole crew. I think we got a really nice receiving crew this year.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see that, and new guys, new places, and just trying to figure it out and put their best foot forward. We always give a lot of credit for quarterbacks going in from year 1 to year 2 as a starter and being in a system and things of that nature. But I think it's also important to look at coordinators from year 1 to year 2 and the things that they'll learn and the comfort they'll have in the program with their players. And it's great that you have a lot of guys back. How has Cade Bell, as an offensive coordinator, gotten better this offseason?
Yeah, I think he's made major strides. I really do. And again, you got an old ball coach like me trying to help him out. I mean, he's a genius. I think offensively, he's got great ideas. I'm not helping him out with any ideas. I have no ideas for him. He's got the ideas, but just to self-scout, know what people are looking at. Just a little bit more of the organization, which you can't get at his age. I mean, it takes years, and you're not going to get it in 1 year, but it takes years of whether it's offense or defense. It's ball coaching, it's coaching football. And, just the time I've spent coaching and evaluating offenses and looking at what is hard on an offense, what's easy on a defense, all those things I think play into it. So the great thing is he's got great ears. He listens. He's anxious to continue to get better and learn. And that's what I love about him.
Thinking that you don't have much to say to him, Coach. I somehow don't believe that. I'm not sure.
When it comes to ideas, he's got more ideas. Like, you go in the meeting room, he's got stuff scribbled up everywhere. I'm like, what? It looks like some mad scientist. Really,
mad scientist. Yeah.
If you go in there next time you guys come to a game, you go in his meeting room. It's like, what the heck is up? I mean, like, it's like a different world. Different than I've seen anybody. Offensively, my 10 years so far. I mean, he really got a different feel. I mean, offensively, he knows what he likes to do, and then it's just kind of packaging it and putting it all together and making sense out of it, I guess.
That's what you want from your coordinators. You want evil geniuses. You mentioned your experience in the game. I'm not sure you've had and maybe you have, so correct me if I'm wrong, a season like you did last year where you win your first 7 and then, fall short on the last 5. It's kind of crazy. I mean, are there 1 or 2 things that you learned from last year in that experience?
Ooh, yeah, that was the first 7 games were fun. Those last ones weren't. And, somehow we got to stay healthy. I've learned that. Like, I think when you got your best 22 out there, you're a better football team. And I probably can't talk about all the things I'd like to throw at you today. There's plenty to learn from, those experiences, and we have to find a way to finish. And that's a big focus in the offseason was, just finish. Everybody's got to know that we're going to finish this year. We're not going to deal with what we dealt with last year. So it's not going to happen. I mean, you think about where we came from the year before, and then you go to 21 when we won a championship. So again, all those seasons are different, Kelly. I mean, every season's going to be a little different. Shoot, I played on a 13-1 team. We lost in the opener to Iowa and then won 13 straight and won a championship. I mean, so there are different ways to do it. We just like to – I don't care how we do it. As long as we get those 10, 11, 12 wins in regular season, I'm good.
No question about it. Well, cheers to a healthy 25. Cheers to finishing the drill. And, Coach, we can't wait to see it. I think Pitt Panthers may be hanging out below the radar, but you guys are going to be a really good team, and I think you're going to wake some people up that maybe aren't paying too much attention. We appreciate you. Always good seeing you, brother.
Appreciate cheers. I'm going to cheers with my iced coffee here.
Come on, baby.